What's up guys, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. Cagliari against Roma during the World Cup draw. I cannot believe, I was watching that draw, I cannot believe how political football got. That draw is ridiculous. Like whoever organized that draw is... I've always seen Infantino as an idiot, but that draw, oh my god, it looked everything like... It looked like a United Nations meeting. Jesus. It was so political. Like the glazing that Trump got out of that. Holy cow. But the draw is still on, so do keep me updated in the live chat. Where Italy get placed. Of course, we still need to qualify, but where Italy would be placed if we do qualify. We've got a big game this weekend, a very big game, because it's a very big chance, first of all, because we have some direct encounters this weekend that are playing against each other. So technically at the end of this weekend, we could still finish first, as we said before, because Napoli play Juve, Inter play Como, Milan play, I think they play in Torino against Torino, which they should win, but they're coming from a defeat against Lazio in the Coppa Italia, didn't play great, and going to Torino is never easy. So I do think that at the end of this game week, we could see Roma in first place again. But as we've said this week, whenever you have to look at the league tables, we'll be in May, and in May we won't be first. But it will be good for our eyes, of course, if we get back first. We cannot slip up, because this, I would say, is... I would dare calling this game an easy game, because I think going to Sardinia is never easy. And Cagliari are a team that, yes, started very well, kind of fell off now, but going there to Sardinia is never easy. And apart from that 0-0 game that ended last season in game week 1, the opening of the league last year, we've always conceded a goal in this stadium. So I would be very cautious when it comes to defining this game as an easy game. You know me, I think there are no easy games in this league. But it's a big chance because arguably out of all the teams up there, we do have the easiest one. And I would also say that this is a very important game because after this game, you have a slot of games which I think can change the way you act in the second half of the season, which can change potentially your intuitions and abilities in the January transfer session, and could set you either in a good way or in a bad path for what is coming next. Because after this game, we have Como at home, Celtic in Glasgow, our return to Glasgow, Juventus in Turin, and then we get to Christmas. And then we have to play Atalanta around New Year's, beginning of January. So we need to be careful because we've, up to now, as I've repeated many times, we've definitely overachieved up to now. But the table is so, like, it's so close that you win a game, you're first, you lose a game, you can end up 6th. And that can affect you mentally. So Sunday's game is a game that I see as kind of the last one before a very important slot. Maybe I would also include this in the slot of very important games. But it's kind of not the last chance. I don't want to sound that dramatic, but you get the point. We need to set up for what is next with a win on Sunday. I think setting ourselves up for Como, Celtic, Juve and Atalanta with a non-win on Sunday would be pretty catastrophic and wouldn't set us up in a very good way. So we're here to analyze the game, of course. Sima watched my early 2025 recap on what I watched the most, and you were number one on by a landslide. And in 2025, I watched 129 of your videos. I love this channel. Thanks for uploading almost every day. Mate, thank you. I got that message on the fan forum from a lot of people and also on Instagram. With people sending me screenshots. So absolutely, thank you. If I need to thank anyone, it's you guys. I am, as I said in the last video, I'm proud to be part of everyone's daily routine and daily life. So bring it on and let this journey end with a good ending. Not that isn't foreshadowing quitting YouTube. Just we want that Scudetto, right? In somewhere in the near future, and hopefully we can live it together. That's my point. Okay, let's look at the game. If you haven't already, do hit the like, subscribe, do all of that beauty down below, because Sunday's game is an important one, because the World Cup is approaching. Hopefully Italy will be in it, but it's a happy time to be alive, right? Apart from that, I can't get over that draw. I cannot get over how political that draw was. FIFA fell off so badly, man. They fell off. They really did. That was the biggest propaganda towards the US and the Trump show that I think I've ever seen. But, okay. Cagliari first. Cagliari started very well, but lately fell off. Partly due to their injuries and partly due to their performances. Of course, they lost Belotti with a broken ACL. They lost Felici in their Coppa Italia game this week with a broken ACL. And I also believe that Mina, that dickhead of Yerry Mina, because he's a dickhead, allow me the term because he is a dickhead, he will be unavailable for this game. So a Cagliari team with a lot of absences. A Cagliari team which is a bit limited when it comes to rotation. And I see a team, apart from Esposito and potentially Luvumbo with his speed, I would say, and rapidity, I see a team that struggles to score goals. I see a team that struggles to create. And ironically, this game is a game between two teams which struggle to create, because we also struggle to create. But we'll speak about us in a second, and I will show you the choices that I think Gasperini will go through for this game. But no, they started very well, because they lost 1-0 to Napoli in the second game week, which was understandable. And then they won against Parma, they won against Lecce, they drew in Udine against Udinese, and you know, they collected points that at the end of the season will come handy. And I don't think Cagliari are going to get relegated, because I think there are worse teams. But it's always better to get points against Lecce and against, what did we say, Parma at the beginning of the season, because these are points, or heavy points, that will count at the end of the season. Having said that, they have fallen off, because they're coming from a defeat to Inter, a defeat to Bologna at home, a draw in Verona against Verona, a defeat at home to Sassuolo, a defeat in Rome against Lazio, a good draw in Como against Como, and then a draw against Genoa, a defeat in Torino against Juventus, and they lost this weekend in the Coppa Italia on penalties. So Napoli dragged them to penalties. They will be a bit tired for this game because they played midweek. We didn't. And generally speaking, it's a Cagliari team which hasn't won a game since the 19th of September. You know what I mean? Again, I think this season we've proven to be a very solid team away. And I think we've been pretty surprising on this side and on this front, because we're normally the opposite. But this time we're better. This year we're better away. Maybe we feel less pressure. We've won every game away apart from Milan away, which I think is a statement. I think we'll win on Sunday, because I think we will not see a Roma team that the Roma team and the Roma approach that we saw against Napoli. We won't, because Gasperini won't allow it. The players won't allow it to themselves. And number three, we've had a full week to prepare for this game. So I think we will see a high-intensity Roma side, 100%. And I do think it will lead us to a victory. I do predict a win on Sunday. But again, as always, with Roma, it's never going to be an easy win. It's always going to be a grinding out win. A game decided by moments, set pieces, and all of that beauty. But I do see us winning, because it's such an important game that we cannot allow ourselves to lose. You know, you can't allow yourself to lose this game, because if you lose this game, you'd come from 2 consecutive defeats to prepare that slot of very important games we talked about. And you know, if you don't win some of those games, then you will really end up from going. You will go from first to like 6th, 7th. Because everyone is so close that if you lose points, people will exploit, teams will exploit, and you'll fall down. So it is very important that we win this Sunday. And as Roma Totti says, we're itching for a win. Predicted 11. I think it will be something along these lines. However, I think there's a chance that Cristante plays very upfront, like he did in that Sassuolo game, and Kone playing next to El Anawi in the middle. I think this game will be a pretty similar game to that Sassuolo victory, in terms of approach, in terms of style, and in terms of formation, and also maybe in terms of the decisions of what Gasperini will choose. I can see it. I can see Dybala and Sule start up front together, with Pellegrini starting from the bench and Cristante in that more advanced position with Kone and Anawi as the double pivot in the middle. I can see that happen. But I think Pellegrini right now is one of the most on-form players in our team. And people may laugh at this, but I think it's the truth. I think Pellegrini, in terms of fitness, is one of the most on-form players. I think ever since he got that injury at the end of last season, Pellegrini recovered from it, and Gasperini played a very big part when it comes to his recovery. Because now we have a player that not only doesn't get injured half as oftenly, but is also more interpretative inside the games he plays. A Pellegrini which is way more durable because he lasts more, and at times he plays 90 minutes. And a players which is less on the... Pellegrini last year, I think he was always... There were moments where Pellegrini was always on the floor. Whether he was injured, whether it's because he wasn't tough. There were games last season where Pellegrini spent games on the floor, rolling around on the floor. I don't see that Pellegrini anymore. And I think he's one of the players that you cannot go against at time of speaking. And I do want to keep starting Pellegrini because I think he's playing well. Again, it's better if he scores more goals. I agree. Everyone is better if they score more goals. But I think he's one of the players that, as of the 5th of December, Gasperini wouldn't go against. Having said that, I do think Cristante will start with Kone next to him. Chilik and Wesley, Mancho, Ndika, Hermosos, Villar and goal, Paulo up front. Paulo's coming from a fever, so didn't train every day this week with the group. Ferguson, again, I don't know. I feel like... I don't know what to think with Ferguson anymore, guys. I don't know what I think anymore, because part of me really got hyped up whenever he scored that goal against Cremonese, thinking that that was going to be his revolution. But then I see him play against Napoli and he really didn't touch a ball and didn't do one correct movement. So I'm like, I don't understand what Ferguson we have. I don't understand what Ferguson we want. I don't understand, goal aside, what Ferguson can offer. And I don't even understand if Ferguson is fit or not, because people keep on saying that Ferguson has ankle issues. And if that's the case, he can't start. I just feel like Dybala's more of a certainty. Again, you know what I think of Dybala's season? I think Dybala this season has not been good. In terms of minutes played and in terms of performances. I think he can be way better than this and needs to be way better than this. But Dybala is a certainty. Dybala gives you certainties that Ferguson or even Dovbyk when he's around doesn't give you. So I am going to go with Dybala as a false nine. I think if you don't start Ferguson, you have to start Dybala as a false nine, because... Okay, you can start Baldanzi again, but did it really work against Napoli? It worked a bit against Cremonese, but I'm not sure if it's going to work again. And I also read that Baldanzi, I'm not sure, will be available for this game, because he also has a fever. Good news, however, speaking about the team, is that Angelino's back. Angelino back today training with the group after months. Of course, he won't start, and he will be nowhere close level of starting games anytime soon. But it's important to have him back training with the group and getting that fitness back going. I think to see Angelino back starting, we need to wait the end of December. There is no way I see Angelino start games before the end of December. There's simply no way. He spent 3 months almost outside of the football pitch, 2 months and a half, for reasons that were pretty serious. So I do not see Angelino anywhere near the pitch. I mean, starting level anywhere near in these next few weeks. But it's important to have these players back because we will eventually need them, especially if we won't replace them in the January window. Yeah, just looking at the games, because as I said at the start, we have... Who did Italy get? Can somebody let me know in the live chat who Italy got in the draw? Not who they got, but if we qualify, who we got. This game you have some very big games, because Lazio also play Bologna. So, yeah, ironically, at the end of this game week, I would not be surprised if we're back first. Napoli play Juve, that's probably the biggest game, even though I see a Napoli win, because I think... I don't know, I just feel like Napoli after that that international break where Conte took time off, something changed in that Napoli team. Before that international break, I would have gone against Napoli, but now I see a different Napoli team. And I think if Napoli they played against us, they'll beat Juventus, and they're at home. Inter play Como, that's not an easy game to predict. Lazio play Bologna, that's not an easy game to predict, and Milan play Torino on Monday night. So we have a few decisive games this weekend, and we need to definitely take advantage of this. Absolutely. Okay, look, I think I said everything regarding this game. I'm gonna keep repeating that this Christmas tree won't make it till the end of December because I keep on bumping against it. 6-7. Yeah. Let me look at the. Hang on. I want to see the draws. Canada, Qatar, and Switzerland. Oh my days, that's easy as hell. I thought we were in the fourth pot. Also, can I say, Italy fourth pot is embarrassing. Like, I understand, you can, as an Italian, I'm the first one to say that you can take the mick out of us because we're ridiculous and we've missed on the last 2 World Cups. But Italy fourth pot, because we were in the qualifiers, is absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely, it's not even ridiculous, it's disrespectful. We have got the biggest football legacy out of the majority of the teams in this World Cup. We do. I could probably Brazil, Argentina have got a bigger football legacy than us. So to put Italy next to, no disrespect, Cape Verde, Curacao is absolutely disrespectful, regardless of whether we're in the World Cup or we have to go through the qualifiers or not. I mean, this is a team that won the Euros 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever it was. Italy fourth pot is ridiculous. But I don't understand how if you can be fourth pot, you got Canada, Qatar, and Switzerland. Am I supposed to think Canada, Qatar, and Switzerland are first, second, and third pot? I mean, they all sound fourth pot to me. Oh, Canada's in first pot because they're hosting the World Cup. That's why. Qatar, how is, yeah, you see, like, how? It just makes me so frustrated. How does Qatar have a bigger football pot than Italy? Like, holy, my God. It just makes me want to rip my eyeballs. How the hell does Qatar or even Switzerland have a higher pot than Italy? Like, come on, be real. Be real. Be real. It's ridiculous. I think this World Cup, ever since I saw today's ceremony, I was like, what the hell are they doing? What the hell are they doing? This is political propaganda at its best. But the World Cup is always the World Cup, and hopefully we do make it. You said we might drop to 6th, 7th place if we lose earlier. 6, 7. I mean, if we do drop points, we can get 6th, 7th. So it was a fair meme. Okay, I will catch you tomorrow. I think Gasperini will speak tomorrow, so we'll react to his press conference. I will catch you tomorrow. Hit the like, subscribe, Please do share this link to your friends, families, whoever you know that supports Roma like you. And speak to you soon. Simo out.